So let's talk about that adding a first round. The few options that have been thrown out there, there's possibilities of what the Pistons can do or what they can get back for Jerami Grant. It looks like his time in Detroit is pretty much over. So the one we've heard of for a while, Portland Trailblazers. Trade to Portland, you get the 7th pick. You now have the 5th and the 7th pick. But there's other teams out there that are talking about making moves that the Pistons absolutely could take advantage of. One I talked about with you that I like the most is the Atlanta Hawks getting involved, and we get Bogdan Bogdanovic for 2 years and $36 million left on his contract. We get the number 16 pick as well. So we get a proven scorer and another pick that's just outside the lottery.
Yeah, I like that. I think adding shooting to the Pistons is one of their top priorities in the offseason, and Bogdanovich is definitely a guy who fits that bill. And we've seen guys taken, obviously, around the 16th pick before who have gone on to become some major contributors. And I think there's even a couple guys in this draft who, of course, when you get down to 16, there's nobody that you look at that's like, oh, that dude is certainly a superstar. But there's some really interesting players around that 16 range that if they popped, right, if they hit their absolute ceiling, could be some really good NBA players, or they could be out the league in 3 years. But just another swing at it, another bite at the apple, and then to add a proven shooter is something I'm all about. Now, I wish he only had 1 more year on his contract. I'd like to keep the books a little more clean, but it is what it is. And overall, I think I'd just rather have Bogdanovich and that pick, and shipping out Jerami Grant is something that I'd be willing to do.
Okay, so there were a couple others out there. Timberwolves were one they were talking about where we received Malik Beasley, Jared, and their 19th pick upcoming draft, and maybe even the 40th pick as well. All of that just for Jerami Grant. The last one was Utah one where we get Dylan Brooks, who has 1 year and 11 mil left on his contract, the Anthony Melton, as well as the 22nd pick. Do either one of those look appealing?
I like the Dylan Brooks one. That'd be Memphis, though, instead of Utah.
Oh, I'm sorry. My fault. Sorry. The pick is via Utah. I knew the name matchup, right?
No, so I like that. I think Dylan Brooks is a good player, and I think Melton would be a good backup guard, too. I actually don't think I would do the Minnesota one. One thing that I did, and I guess I didn't realize until we were looking at these players, was Beasley shot 38.5% on 7 threes a game, which is definitely better than I imagined him being as a shooter. So I might pull the trigger on it, but he also comes with some weird off the court stuff. Not like anything criminal, really. He's just got some weird social media stuff that you could probably just do without, and then pick, was it 22 or whatever? Doesn't really do much for me. And at that point, I think I'd rather just hold on to Jerami Grant until either the trade deadline or just keep him and then let, the $20 million he's owed come off the books at the end of the year, and then you can play with some of your new found cap space. But if I were the Pistons, I don't think I would do the Minnesota one, because I think there's probably a little bit more value to be had at the trade deadline. And if you're trading him, Grant, at the trade deadline, you're probably getting a pick that's near 22 back anyway.
Okay, so between the top two that we had talked about, the Atlanta, they're getting their Beasley. No, sorry. The Atlanta Hawks were getting Bogdan Bogdanovic as well as the number 16 pick, or with the Portland Trailblazers, and it's just the 7th. So would you rather have 5 and 7 or 5, 16 Bogdanovic?
I'd rather have 5 and 7. Listen, I like Bogdanovic, but I wouldn't see him as part of the Pistons' future. Whereas if you have 5 and 7, at least there's hope that one of those guys are going to end up being a really productive player for the Pistons and be part of their core. And then maybe they can get 2 of the guys that we talked about, Sharp, Ivy, Mathurin, AJ Griffin, and Murray. You'd have to be able to pair 2 of those guys at least.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what?